His Excellency. By a series of misunderstandings and coincidences, Nasrudin found himself one day in the audience hall of the Emperor of Persia. The Shahinshah was surrounded by self-seeking nobles, governors of provinces, courtiers and connivers of all kinds. Each was pressing his own claim to be appointed head of the embassy which was soon to set out for India. The emperor's patience was at an end, and he raised his head from the importunate mass, mentally invoking the aid of heaven in his problem as to whom to choose. His eyes lighted upon Mullanasrudin. "This is to be the ambassador," he announced, "so now leave me in peace." Nazrudin was given rich clothes, and an enormous chest of rubies, diamonds, emeralds and priceless works of art was entrusted to him, the gift of the Shahinshah to the great Mogul. The courtiers, however, were not finished. United for once by this affront to their claims, they decided to encompass the downfall of the Mullah. First they broke into his quarters and stole the jewels, which they divided among themselves, replacing them with earth to make up the weight. Then they called upon Nazrudin, determined to ruin his embassy, to get him into trouble, and in the process to discredit their master as well. "Congratulations, great Nazrudin," they said. "What the fountain of wisdom, peacock of the world, has ordered must be the essence of all wisdom. We therefore hail you. But there are just a couple of points upon which we may be able to advise you, accustomed as we are to the behavior of diplomatic emissaries." "I should be obliged if you would tell me," said Nasrudin. "Very well," said the chief of the intriguers. "The first thing is that you must be humble. In order to show how modest you are, therefore, you should not show any sign of importance. When you reach India you will enter as many mosques as you can, and make collections for yourself. The second thing is that you must observe court etiquette in the country to which you are accredited. This will mean that you will refer to the great Mogul as the full moon. But is that not a title of the Persian emperor? Not in India." So Nasrudin set out. The Persian emperor told him as they took leave, "Be careful, Nasrudin. Adhere to etiquette, for the Mogul is a mighty emperor and we must impress him while not affronting him in any way." "I am well prepared, Majesty," said Nasrudin. As soon as he entered the territory of India, Nasrudin went into a mosque and mounted the pulpit. "O people," he cried, "see in me the representative of the shadow of Allah upon earth, the axis of the globe. Bring out your money, for I am making a collection." This he repeated in every mosque he could find, all the way from Baluchistan to Imperial Delhi. He collected a great deal of money. "Do with it," the counselors had said, "what you will. For it is the product of intuitive growth and bestowal, and as such its use will create its own demand." All that they wanted to happen was for the mullah to be exposed to ridicule for collecting money. In this shameless manner, the holy must live from their holiness, roared Nazrudin at mosque after mosque. "I give no account nor do I expect any. To you, money is something to be hoarded, after being sought. You can exchange it for material things. To me, it is a part of a mechanism. I am the representative of a natural force of intuitive growth, bestowal and disbursement. Now, as we all know, good often proceeds from apparent evil, and the reverse." Those who thought that Nasrudin was lining his own pockets did not contribute. For some reason, their affairs did not prosper. Those who were considered credulous and gave their money became in a mysterious way enriched. But to return to our story. Sitting on the peacock throne, the emperor at Delhi studied the reports which couriers were daily bringing him, describing the progress of the Persian ambassador. At first he could make no sense out of them. Then he called his council together. "Gentlemen," he said, "this Nasrudin must indeed be a saint or a divinely guided one. Who ever heard of anyone else violating the principle that one does not seek money without a plausible reason, lest a wrong interpretation be placed upon one's motives?" "May your shadow never grow less," they replied. "O infinite extension of all wisdom, we agree. If there are men like this in Persia, we must beware, for their moral ascendancy over our materialistic outlook is plain." Then a runner arrived from Persia, with a secret letter in which the Mughal spies at the Imperial court reported, "Mulla Nasrudin is a man of no consequence in Persia. He was chosen absolutely at random to be ambassador. We cannot fathom the reason for the Shahinshah not being more selective." The Mughal called his council together, incomparable birds of paradise. He told them, "A thought has manifested itself to me. The Persian emperor has chosen a man at random to represent his whole nation. This may mean that he is so confident of the consistent quality of his people that, for him, anyone at all is qualified to undertake the delicate task of ambassador to the sublime court of Delhi. This indicates the degree of perfection attained, the amazingly infallible intuitive powers cultivated among them. We must reconsider our desire to invade Persia, for such a people could easily engulf our arms. Their society is organized on a different basis from our own." "You are right, superlative warrior on the frontiers," cried the Indian nobles. At length, Nasrudin arrived in Delhi. He was riding his old donkey, and was followed by his escort, weighed down by the sacks of money which he had collected in the mosques. The treasure chest was mounted on an elephant, such was its size and weight. Nasrudin was met by the master of ceremonies at the gate of Delhi. The emperor was seated with his nobles in an immense courtyard, the reception hall of the ambassadors. This had been so arranged that the entrance was low. As a consequence, ambassadors were always obliged to dismount from their horses and enter the supreme presence on foot, giving the impression of supplicants. Only an equal could ride into the presence of an emperor. No ambassador had ever arrived astride a donkey, and thus there was nothing to stop Nasrudin trotting straight through the door, and up to the imperial dais. The Indian king and his courtiers exchanged meaningful glances at this act. Nasrudin blithely dismounted, addressed the king as the full moon, and called for his treasure chest to be brought. When it was opened, and the earth revealed, there was a moment of consternation. "I had better say nothing," thought Nasrudin, "for there is nothing to say which could mitigate this." So he remained silent. The Mughal whispered to his vizier, "What does this mean? Is this an insult to the highest eminence?" Incapable of believing this, the vizier thought furiously. Then he provided the interpretation. "It is a symbolic act, presence," he murmured. "The ambassador means that he acknowledges you as the master of the earth. Did he not call you the full moon?" The Mughal relaxed. "We are content with the offering of the Persian Shahinshah, for we have no need of wealth, and we appreciate the metaphysical subtlety of the message. I have been told to say, said Nasrudin, remembering the essential gift-offering phrase given him by the intriguers in Persia, that this is all we have for your majesty. That means that Persia will not yield one further ounce of her soil to us, whispered the interpreter of omens to the king. Tell your master that we understand, smiled the Mogul. But there is one other point. If I am the full moon, what is the Persian emperor? He is the new moon, said Nasrudin, automatically. The full moon is more mature and gives more light than the new moon, which is its junior, whispered the court astrologer to the Mogul. We are content, said the delighted Indian. You may return to Persia and tell the new moon that the full moon salutes him. The Persian spies at the court of Delhi immediately sent a complete account of this interchange to the Shahinshah. They added that it was known that the Mughal emperor had been impressed, and feared to plan war against the Persians because of the activities of Nazrudin. When the Mullah returned home, the Shahinshah received him in full audience. I am more than pleased, friend Nazrudin, he said, at the results of your unorthodox methods. Our country is saved, and this means that there will be no attempt at accounting for the jewels or the collecting in mosques. You are henceforth to be known by the special title of Safir Emissary. But, your majesty, hissed his vizier, this man is guilty of high treason, if not more. We have perfect evidence that he applied one of your titles to the Emperor of India, thus changing his allegiance and bringing one of your magnificent attributes into disrepute. Yes, thundered the Shahinshah, the sages have said wisely that to every perfection there is an imperfection. Nazrudin. Why did you call me the new moon? I don't know about protocol, said Nazrudin, but I do know that the full moon is about to wane. And the new moon is still growing, with its greatest glories ahead of it. The emperor's mood changed. Seize Anwar, the Grand Vizier, he roared. Mullah, I offer you the position of Grand Vizier. What? Said Nasrudin. Could I accept after seeing with my own eyes what happened to my predecessor? And what happened to the jewels and treasures which the evil courtiers had usurped from the treasure chest? That is another story. As the incomparable Nasrudin said, only children and the stupid seek cause and effect in the same story.